Hey, if you're looking to open a liquor store and you need a set of financial projections because you're trying to raise investment or get a loan from a bank and they've asked you for a set of projections, well, then you've come to the right place because we have built a financial projection template built specifically for liquor stores. And I'm going to walk you through how to use this template, how to fill it out, and kind of what you get at the end of the process here today. But before I get too far into that, a little bit of background. My name's Adam Hoeksema. I'm the co-founder of ProjectionHub. And over the last decade, we've helped over 50,000 entrepreneurs create financial projections for all sorts of different businesses. And today, we're specifically focused on this liquor store template. Now, I have put a link to this template in the description of the video below, so you can go there and grab that to follow along. And also, as a reward, if you make it to the end of the video, I'm going to share a discount code that you'll be able to use when you purchase the template. You'll be able to grab a discount on that as well. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so we are here on the At a Glance tab, and this is kind of the end of the process. Once you have all your assumptions entered in, all your revenue and expense assumptions, you will get a nice set of different charts and key performance indicators, summary data here, some different graphs, industry ratios, charts and tables that you'll be able to use in a business plan or investor pitch deck. You will also get a 5-year income statement summary, 5-year cash flow summary, 5-year balance sheet summary, and then an income statement, cash flow, and balance sheet all broken down by month for each of the 5 years. Now, in order to get to that point, we have a little bit of work to do. So I'm going back to the Input Assumptions tab here. And the first thing you need to know is that any cell that's highlighted in blue is an assumption field that you can change without breaking anything in the template. So we have entered our liquor store. We are assuming we're going to open or start the projections in January of 2023. And this template is actually built to allow you to add multiple units, multiple stores. So you could just fill out the model for just one store. That would work perfectly fine for that. But if you plan to open multiple stores over a period of time, this will work for that as well. And so what I have kind of done as a default here is entered in data for 3 different stores that we're going to imagine that we're opening here. So we are assuming that we're going to invest in store number 1, we're going to invest $25,000 of investment in month 0, so at the beginning of the model. And then store 2, we're going to open in month 13, and store 3 in month 25, and so we're going to invest an additional $25,000 for each of those units. We're also assuming an initial inventory balance of $50,000 that we'll need to purchase to outfit the first store. We're also assuming that we won't own the property, we won't own the building, but we'll be renting it, and we'll have leasehold improvements that we'll be responsible for of $50,000 per store. So you can see that we've entered in leasehold improvements in month 1, 13, and 25, kind of following that same opening pattern. And then a refrigeration unit in each store for $30,000 each in month 1, 13, and 25. And then lastly, on this tab, we are going to have 3 different business loans to help us get these stores open. So the first one will be a little bit of a higher loan, $150,000 in month 1 will help us get that first store open. And then as that store starts to cash flow, hopefully for stores 2 and 3, we won't need to borrow quite as much. And so we're going to borrow $100,000 for each of those. Now jumping into the Input Revenue tab, let's say we are open 6 days a week. And again, we have the ability to add, this is where you would add multiple stores. We've got our 3 stores opening in month 1, 13, and 25. And we have this visitors per day idea. And so what we're assuming here is that over time, you're going to increase the number of visitors you get per day. Maybe you're in a growing area of growing population, and so you expect that these stores will increase in terms of visitors per day on average over time. So we're starting with 70, growing up to 120 by year 5 for each store. We're assuming that 90% of visitors that walk into the store end up purchasing something. And then we're assuming that on average, the number of products per transaction is 1.2 on average in year 1. And then that's going to grow over the 5 years up to 1.9 as your team gets better at upselling and as you learn, right? So that's what we're assuming. And then the breakdown of our product categories. So we've got liquor, beer, wine, and other. It's kind of the 4 product categories. And you can put in an average price point for your average product of each of those products. And then you'll have a cost of the product. And we are assuming here, this is a calculation, that your cost is 35% of the purchase price. And you'll want to enter in your own assumptions based on what margins you expect. And now this is where we break down kind of what the average sales will end up being based on a relative popularity scale. And so this is a little bit confusing, so let me try to explain this well. So if you add up all these numbers here, you're going to see that it adds up to 8. So it adds up to 8 in my example. And what this means when you say 2, that means that 2 out of 8 products, 2 out of those 8 products will be liquor. 4 out of the 8 products will be beer. 1 out of 8 wine, 1 out of 8 other. And so basically what you're trying to do here is the higher the number, the more popular it is in comparison to your other products, right? And so you'll want to kind of fill out that relative popularity. And if you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We know that can be a little bit confusing, so reach out at support@projectionhub.com. All right, now on the e-commerce side of things, so we are assuming that there's a possibility that you might be able to actually sell product over e-commerce as well. So some liquor stores may be able to sell product online, and so we're assuming that you're gonna try to build up a customer base, a regular customer base, and actually sell to them online as well. So we've got the ability here for an advertising spend and organic website visitors, and then some percentage of those website visitors are going to convert into orders. We're assuming that the average number of items per order is 2.5, and then that you sell liquor and wine on your website. And we're saying that this service isn't going to start until month 6 of the model. Here's the average price points, cost of the product, cost of shipping and packaging, and then the relative popularity idea again. Now, if you aren't selling online, that's no problem. All you can really need to do here, if you just put in 0 right here for the items per order, that's going to zero out all of that revenue and cost of goods sold, so you won't have to worry about that at all. And we can just hide that section from the model as well. So to hide a section, just so you're aware, in Excel, you just highlight the whole section that you want to hide, and you can just right-click, click hide, and that'll hide all of those cells. So if you aren't doing online, which we assume most probably are not, that's how you can hide that and zero it out. I wouldn't delete that section. If you delete it, it may break some of the equations throughout the model. All right, now moving on to our operating expense tab. So for our operating expenses, we have the ability to add these expenses in 3 different methods, either a fixed dollar amount. So for our marketing firm, for example, we could say we're just going to spend a fixed dollar amount of $1,000 a month for that. We might also have other expenses that are on a per store basis. So for example, our accounting or our bookkeeping costs, let's say that's $500 per store, but the more stores we have open, the more accounting and bookkeeping work there will be. And so we want that to actually be on a per store basis. And then some of our expenses, like credit card processing fees, will be on a percentage of revenue. And so we've entered that as 3% of total revenue. And so based on how you enter in those expenses, your per store or your percentage of revenue expenses will be automatically calculated for you in the model. And then lastly, let's move on to the input salaries tab. You can add in we've got a regional manager. So we're saying we've got one regional manager that's kind of overseeing all 3 stores, and then a store manager at each location, as well as staff. And we're saying we have 2. So you can see this number of particular employees. So we're saying we have 2 staff making $30,000 a year. Now, if you have, what you might in reality be doing is you might have like 5 or 10 different part-time staff that are all just taking little shifts. So what you could do is, let's say that you've got 10 different part-time staff all making $8,000 a year because they're just working a handful of shifts, but you could put in 10 of that particular employee. So that's another way to fill this out. All right, and so once you've done that, we are done. We're back on our at a glance tab, and we can see that based on the numbers we have put in here, we lose a little bit of money in the first year, but then we grow as additional stores get open and the stores themselves grow with additional traffic. We are now up to a net income percentage of 31%, which is a high profit margin for the assumptions that we have in here in this example. So thanks for making it to the end of the template demo here. Now, I promised to give you a discount code. So if you go down in the description of the video below, there will be a link to a form, and you can fill out that form, and we will email you our most up-to-date discount code so that you can use that at checkout and get yourself a discount as a thank you to you for sticking around. All right, so if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com. Thanks.